Welcome back. Recent reports of what happened behind the scenes in the 2008 financial crisis have put our guest Kyle Bass in the spotlight.
Yeah, they sure have. Specifically, a report that said Kyle Bass, who previously was a Bear Stearns executive, told a financial reporter that Goldman Sachs was refusing to accept the counterparty risk of Bear Stearns. They had stopped trading with Bear Stearns. The reporter then asked the CEO of Bear Stearns that very question.
And in fact, some firms were still trading with Bear that day, but just a question made Wall Street so uneasy that Bear's fate was sealed, and we all know what happened. First of all, Kyle, is that a true story that was recently reported in the Wall Street Journal?
Yes.
And so you were able to ascertain for certain that certain firms, in this case Goldman Sachs, stopped trading with Bear?
I think, as you know, the entire financial landscape of the U.S. and the world is based upon trust.
Correct.
And if one firm is not willing to face another firm, then the other firm's finished.
Right.
It put them out of business.
Well, they put themselves out of business. Okay, if you talk to Ace Greenberg about Jimmy Kane and what went on during that predated the financial crisis, look, Bear levered their balance sheet 33 times with toxic mortgages, and whether it was Bobby Steinberg that ran risk management or Jimmy Kane that ran the firm, they either were stupid or they took on those risks knowingly so and failed. One or the other.
Yeah.
Didn't you make a presentation to Bear Stearns, to the executive committee, pre-2008, exactly what you saw, what they were holding?
Yeah, in November 2006, I met with Bear Stearns' entire risk management committee, and I walked them through the entire presentation.
Yeah, this is a story that is not. This is a story that is really. I've talked to Kyle about this, but for whatever reason, this has not been out there in the public. Tell the viewers exactly what happened at that meeting in 2006.
So I was so worried. Look, all of my friends were at Bear Stearns. I had many, many, many friends there. My prime brokerage account for my fund was at Bear Stearns. I care very much about those people.
You were impacted.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I wanted was for them to go down. Right. So in November of 2006, I went in and met with the risk management committee headed up by Bobby Steinberg. And we had a room full of Bear Stearns execs. Now, Jimmy wasn't in that room and Ace wasn't in that room, but I went through for about 90 minutes. I went through my own view of how this was going, how this was going to go. Now, by the way, I am at that point in time, I'm a very small fund manager in Dallas, Texas, that they're just taking in a data point. So I think you have to also understand the context.
I know what the punchline was. So what happened at the end of that meeting?
So at the end of the meeting, Bobby Steinberg put his arm around me and he said, Kyle, that's a very compelling presentation, and God, I hope you're wrong.
Of course they hoped you were wrong.
But there were different things you could do to mitigate those risks, right?
And they weren't doing it.
They didn't do it.
Do you see any risks today in the U.S. that compare to what you correctly identified back in 2006?
I don't.
Okay.
I think we've recapped our banks.
Yeah.
I think that I know there's a lot of complaining and moaning about excessive regulation. But I mean, come on, guys. We just went through this crisis, and the only reason a few of these firms exist today is because they were made bank holding companies.
Kyle, before we wrap here today, there is some concern that what you have in the European banks, and this has been a concern for the last 12 months, is similar to what we had in the U.S. banks in 2006. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's absolutely true. I mean, think about this. The Europeans couldn't recap their banks like we could.
Right.
They couldn't choose which child they loved most and which child they hated most, or which one needed it and which one didn't, because it wouldn't be fair. Right? There's no central taxing authority in Europe.
You said there's not going to be a Lehman moment in China. Is there going to be a Lehman moment for the banks in Europe?
What I mean by Lehman moment, very specifically, is the interconnected nature of Lehman's failure and everyone worrying about derivative contracts failing. And in the end, if you remember, every single derivative trade settled perfectly in Lehman. I personally think the world's better off seeing how a bank can fail, rather than us saving everyone and everything. And I know that'll be controversial, but I just think it is better.
When it comes to the stock market, is there anywhere in the world you want to be putting money to invest in stocks right now?
No. If I'm right about China, that means global GDP is going to slow. If global GDP is going to slow, it won't be risk positive for equities. Can equities spike up on, let's say, impeachment in Brazil? Can equities spike up on EM rallies where China is going to build some more cities to nowhere? Yes. But in the long run, which is this show is talking about long-term investing, in the long run, you have to be really careful today about plowing more money into equities.
Really great insights. Kyle, wonderful to see you. Yep. Thanks so much. Kyle Bass, thanks for joining us.